Kirk Cousins has a realistic shot of leaving Michigan State as the all-time leader in all 4 of these categories. Currently leads in both completion percentage and passing efficiency. We need to throw for 21 TDs and just over 3,100 yards to pass Jeff Smoker and move into first place in those 2 departments. Not bad for a kid whose only other scholarship offers were from the Mid-American Conference. Kirk Cousins joins us now. And Kirk, before we get to football, I want to talk a little bit about the speech you gave at the Big Ten luncheon. It was a huge hit when we were there. Obviously, everyone was really impressed. You got a standing ovation. It's been an internet sensation. Why do you think it resonated so much with people?
Well, it's hard for me to say because I was a little bit surprised by the response as well. But I think that people just agree with the fact that the opportunity to play college football is a privilege, and with privilege comes great responsibility. And that was what I just tried to capture in a few minutes. But I was absolutely surprised by the response. So I don't really know what exactly caused it to take off.
Kirk, you're obviously part of the leadership of the team, specifically to keeping the momentum and not being complacent on last year's co-championship. What do you have to do to lead?
Well, we're preaching humble and hungry, and I think that games like Iowa last year, games like the Alabama game, showed us we still have a ways to go, and it just takes a reminder of one of those 2 games to make sure we don't get complacent. But our coaches are making sure, you've seen the way they coach us, they're not going to let us get complacent, and we preach humble and hungry, and as long as we operate with humility, we'll be all right.
You guys have tremendous depth at the running back and the wide receivers and also tight end. Tell me how the offensive line has been coming along, because I think if we had to look at one area that may be of concern, we could start there. But talk to us about them.
They're playing at a very high level, and in the spring at times putting together the O-line, we weren't sure who was going to be the 5 guys, and even coming into training camp we weren't quite sure who those 5 guys were going to be. But in my previous 4 years, sir, I've realized that even when the O-line is a little bit uncertain, by the time the first week rolls around, you typically find 5 guys who can really play, and you tend to ride those guys the whole season, and that's no different this year. We found a good group of guys. We will have a couple freshmen up front there, but they're playing at a high level, and really all you can ask for them right now is a strong work ethic and a great attitude, because no one has it tougher during training camp than the offensive line, and they're doing a great job answering every challenge.
You've had so much experience, so many starts. How has the audible package changed? Because you probably can handle more now, obviously, than you could a couple years ago.
Oh, you're exactly right. There's more that I can handle, more I can recognize prior to the snap, and I think that only helps our offense. Now, we don't want to be a check-happy team where we're constantly trying to look for the best possible play, but I think we're always going to try to get out of bad plays, and I think that anytime I can get us out of a bad play into a better play is what I'm going to try to do, and that comes down to film study during the week and getting familiar with opponents that we'll line up against and making sure that we know exactly what they're doing, so before the ball is snapped, we can get a read on what's going to happen and get into the best play possible.
What were some of the things coming into this camp you felt like you needed to improve on?
Well, I think overall, just making sure, like you said earlier, not getting complacent, and I think that being a leader on the team, now the focus is not as much on myself, but making sure this entire team dynamic is where it needs to be going into the season. So, first and foremost, making sure our chemistry and our team dynamic is where it needs to be. But individually, I think footwork is so important as a quarterback, and a lot of times I can get sloppy with my footwork and rely only on my arm. And I think the better and more consistent my feet are, the more consistent my results on the field will be.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
What are you doing to celebrate?
I guess I'm having a 2-a-day. That's the way it's been.
What could be finer, right?
Good for you. Go get in the tub and relax a little.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks,
Kirk
guys.
Cousins, Michigan State quarterback. Always a pleasure. Thanks, Kirk.
Thank you.